Hi everyone, and welcome back to Sonya's Prep. We have 2.5 very short weeks left until we have to get ready for Pesach, for Passover. This is a Thursday when I'm recording, and I wanted to incorporate a few of my favorite recipes, and I wanted to convert them to be kosher for Passover. By the way, if you're new here, hi, my name is Sonya, and this channel is all about my Orthodox Jewish life, where I share Shabbat meal preps and holiday inspirations just like this one. And if you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. So let's roll up our sleeves and let's get prepping. If you've seen last year's matzo ball soup video recipe, this is exactly how I'm going to be doing it, just with a little twist. I'm going to be boiling the chicken first and letting that, broth develop for a good 2 to 3 hours, so it could be like rich in flavor. And then I'm going to add all of the other components that I usually have in my matzo ball soup. I can't wait for you to see the detailed video. If you haven't seen it yet, it's going to be your favorite. We really love it in this house, and I'm sure that you will love it in your house as well. I got different chickens this time. I got organic ones because I don't even know if I'm gonna like these organic ones. I just picked them up at my grocery store, so hoping that it will come out okay. I have 2 chicken thighs, large chicken thighs in here. I'm gonna be putting that on the stove. So for those of you who may be wondering which chickens exactly I bought this time around, this is what they're called. I think some of you may be interested in it. Wise Family Pasture, Rachel's Organic Kosher, free range whole chickens. Like, I just want to make, better choices. I hope I like it. So yeah, this whole chicken is going to be washed and cleaned and placed on a baking tray, and I'm going to be roasting this for Shabbat as well. And obviously, all of these recipes that I'm going to be showing you today can be made kosher for Passover. I'm very minimalistic with the types of sauces and spices that I buy for Passover because it's only 1 week, and I really feel like we can get away without using or buying so much excess, especially now with inflation and prices that are crazy. I find that in my previous Passover recipe videos as well, and just general, cooking for Passover, salt and pepper have done me really, really well. So that's what I'm going to be doing. If you haven't watched my video from last year about Passover and inflation and how I budget to, make Passover, then definitely check it out. I'll have it linked down below. So for this chicken right over here, I cut it into half and I seasoned it with salt and black pepper. Avocado oil doesn't need to be kosher for Passover either, so I just got mine from Costco. I drizzled that on. I'm going to be doing that on both sides. And I'm also going to be using a bunch of garlic, which I have here sitting in boiling water. If you hear my kids going crazy, it's because they're kids. So this is going to sit for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to drain all the water, peel it. It's going to be like magic. It's going to peel so easily. And then I'm going to grate the garlic right over the top of the chicken. Now that all of the garlic has been peeled, I'm going to be mincing a good amount of it over the top of the chicken. I would say about 4 cloves. So this is just really going to bring out all of its natural flavors. It should be yummy and delicious. So happy you liked it. Chicken is all ready. I'm going to place it in a 400-degree oven covered for about 1.5 hours, and then I'll uncover it for the last maybe 10-15 minutes, and it's going to be delicious. So next up is this chakaya roast. So stunning and delicious. Look at this. We have some garlic confit on top. So the way that I did this is I layered the entire bottom of this with sliced Idaho potatoes And then I added in some onions over the top of it. I seasoned it with some salt and black pepper, and then some barbecue sauce. Give that all a good mix. Lined it up in just a single layer, otherwise it's just gonna steam, and you want really the bottom when you're reheating it for your Passover Seder or for Shabbat to get nice and crunchy on the blech, on the hot plate. On top of that, we put in the star of the show, the chakai roast over here. I seasoned it very heavily with some salt and black pepper. You want to season it really, really well because it is a thick piece of meat and you don't want it to be flavorless in the center of it. After that, you can also add in a cumin and coriander if you have that. Then I added in the barbecue sauce very nicely and generously over the top. Filled up the bottle halfway with water, added that to the bottom as well because these tend to burn when you reheat them because they're very bottom heavy. So I always like to add in a little bit of water just to make sure that nothing burns, especially after reheating it. I had some garlic confit left over from Shabbat, and I poured some into the garlic confit that we're going to be making for this Shabbat, and the rest of it I just slathered right on top of this gorgeous meat. I cover the meat very tightly with the foil. I'm going to go into the same oven as the chicken for as long as it takes. Once the chicken is done, I'll lower the temperature to 300 degrees and just keep it in the oven for hours. Next up is definitely a family favorite. We are doing the garlic confit. So I have a bunch of garlic here. I use about 3 heads for this. So to season, I'm just going to add in some salt, cumin, about half a teaspoon of each of these, coriander, some chili flakes for the heat, about, I guess, 2 teaspoons of this, and a nice amount of oil. You want them to be almost floating in the oil. So just make sure to cover the garlic with it. And of course, if you have any leftovers, you could definitely repurpose this just like I did today. I'll give everything a good mix. Cover with some foil. And place it into the same oven as our meat is cooking and our chicken. So we're doing a lot of multitasking and doing all of the things so we can get out of the kitchen a lot quicker. Now we're moving on to making a pumpkin, kugel, I guess, or a pumpkin pie, but minus the crust. These are the simple ingredients that you need. I have some almond flour here, pumpkin puree, light brown sugar, cinnamon, salt, and Rich's Whip with 3 eggs. So into the pie pan, as you saw, I have my eggs. I'm going to be adding in the Rich's Whip that I have defrosted. This is an 8-ounce container. I usually make this recipe with a fresh butternut squash vegetable, but I wanted to use this up before Pesach, even though this is a Pesach video, but I'm making it not on Pesach. So because I want to use this up, I'm going to be altering my usual recipe to include this. But either way, it's going to come out amazing. My kids love this. They can't even tell it's a vegetable. Obviously, I feel like if you make this yourself, it says it's all natural, no preservatives. But I ended up getting it from my mom. She wanted to get rid of it. She gave it to me. So I'm going to be using that in here. So basically, I just steam it whenever I make this. I steam the butternut squash. I take out all of the flesh, and I make it very easy. All you have to do is dump everything together, mix everything well, and it comes together that quickly. Half a cup of almond flour goes in. A 1/3 cup of brown sugar goes in. And a little bit of salt, about half a teaspoon. Mix everything really, really well to incorporate it all. Now, if you have cinnamon that you bought kosher for Passover, definitely do this step because it makes it so pretty. You You add the cinnamon over the top, and then you do this. I always get nervous trying to do this. Swirl it up and down and up and down, and then around and around and around. Just creates some sort of effect, which I don't think I pulled off this time, but okay. So this is going to get baked for 1 hour at 350 uncovered, and is going to reheat beautifully. This also freezes beautifully, incredibly, but I have never made it crustless. This is going to be my first time, and now I'm thinking I should have sprayed the bottom of the pan. So when you make it, spray the bottom of the pan. But this is real life, just a mommy cooking in the kitchen and sharing my recipes with you. So I'm going to be putting that into the oven right now. Next up, I'll be making yapchik, which is, I think, an Ashkenaz potato kugel. So I'm going to be using my traditional potato kugel. I have over here about less than a 5-pound bag of Idaho potatoes. I actually weighed it. It was a little bit over 4 pounds. So I have the potatoes here already peeled. They're soaked in water. Meanwhile, I'm going to take a pan, add in 1 cup of oil. I use avocado oil. I'm adding in 1 cup of oil, putting it inside, and I'm going to be placing it into my hot oven and let it get really nice and hot while I'm pureeing and shredding the potatoes, onions. This recipe also, you need some meat inside of it. I'm actually so excited about making it. So I got chuck stew over here. I'm going to be cleaning it, but I'll go through all of the steps with you. Meanwhile, this is going in the oven. So in the meantime, I'm going to be pureeing with the S-blade in a food processor, or you could just simply grate it with a box grater if you don't have a Passover food processor. So 1 onion goes in. And puree. Scrape it down one more time, just to make it really, really fine. In the meantime, over here, I've cracked 5 eggs. I'm gonna whisk it all. Add in the onions. And the reason why I am setting it up this way is that when I puree half of my potatoes, because not all of them will fit in here, I will be able to right away put them into this mixture and coat them so they don't turn brown. So if you have the Cuisinart that I use, I'm using the fine shred attachment. I also have it linked in my Amazon storefront, which I'll try to remember to link below. So I do all of the potatoes I shred, but half of them then I remove the shredding disc and I put the S-blade and I just puree them because I like that like thready, mushy type texture to my potato kugel. I don't like it too mushy and I don't like it too thready. Give them a mix in the egg mixture so that they don't turn brown. With this next batch, I transferred the S-blade in and I piled the other shredded potatoes inside, so I'm just going to process them now. I'm going to pulse it. So I just combined everything. I seasoned it with salt and pepper to taste. Add as much or as little of the seasonings as you like and prefer. So I'm going to put in half of this amount into my baking pan. Flatten all this out. I think I have a little bit too much oil, but you know what? I'm going to be cooking it for hours. It's going to be all good. The stew meat, I just put right in there. Oh gosh, I cannot wait to have this. You just tuck it right in. And ladle the rest of the potato kugel over the top. Add in a little, like half a cup of water. Pour that over the top. And it bakes in a 425-degree oven for about 2 hours uncovered. That chicken is out of the oven. The garlic aroma is absolutely delicious. I would just serve this on my Seder night with some chopped dill, maybe over the top with a little bit more fresh garlic. And it's going to be delicious. So I hope you guys try this recipe out. It smells heavenly. Wow, oh look how good this looks. It smells amazing. The kids are going to go crazy for it. And it is perfectly cooked through. At this point, the matzo ball soup is pretty much done. It's been cooking for like 3 hours. I have my matzo ball mixture in here. I'm just going to be making the matzo balls and dropping them in, and I'll show you what they look like at the very end. This right here is called borscht. It's a green rice made with herbs and meat and onions, and you basically place it into a linen bag and close it up really tightly with some twine. And I steam this. Some people steam it, some people place it into boiling water and let that cook for 3 to 4 hours. If you're interested in the recipe, I'll definitely link a video where I go into detail of how I made this. The potato kugel is all done now. It looks very, very promising. I could see a little piece of the meat peeking through. And when I'm going to reheat it tomorrow, I'm gonna add in another half a cup or 1 cup over it, and then put it back into the oven, and it's going to come out amazing. You know what? I can't contain myself. I'm gonna dive in. I think I deserve it after all the hard work. That was a nice crunchy part. Okay, let's go in. Oh gosh, look at that. That looks so good. This is the roast. Look how nice and caramelized the potatoes look. And the onions became all like jammy. The roast needs to be basted every now and again. So this is my second time basting it. It's been in the oven for, I would say, 3 hours already. But with these roasts, you know, the longer the better. So now that you saw how I made my meat, I want to share with you how I would make a meat pizza using a Kosher for Passover pizza crust. And we have very, very simple ingredients, so I'll show you how I make it. So to start, I'm going to be using 2 cups of matzah meal, placing it into my bowl, adding in half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of sugar, which is combined here. Put that all inside of the bowl and give it a good mix. And into a separate pot, I have 1 cup of water that we're going to be pouring in. 1 cup of oil. I use avocado oil on Passover. And then we're going to be heating this through until it starts to bubble up. And this is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for it to start bubbling. So now we can combine this with the matzah meal. So we have our heated through oil and water. I'm going to be adding all of it into this bowl. And now we're going to start mixing, and it's going to form a dough. Mix, mix, mix. And once you see that there are no more dry bits, we have 4 eggs over here that I've already cracked. We're going to start adding them in one at a time. So it fluffs up right away, absorbs all of the water. And now we can start adding in the eggs. One goes in, and we mix away. I've actually made this recipe making bread rolls and bagels for Passover when my kids were very, very small. So this is a very good recipe to also make that if you guys are looking for a replacement, I guess, for bread or rolls for your little kids or anyone who's just, craving some bread. So everything's combined. Now I'm gonna let it sit for about 10 minutes just so it could really, really absorb everything into it. So the matzo meal gets really nice and fluffy. And then I'll show you how I lay it out to make the actual pizza crust for the meat pizza. So now it's time to put the entire thing together. I have a parchment paper here on my cookie sheet. I'm gonna be spraying it with some oil. If you don't have a spray bottle, just brush on a little bit of oil just to prevent anything from sticking. Now take your batter and place it onto the cookie sheet. This is going to make a large one, which you can then separate into 2. Separately here, I have a bowl of water where I can dip my fingers into just so I could spread out the batter easily. Now, my oven has been preheating to 375 degrees. So it just beeped, letting me know that it's at temperature. So now dip your fingers into the water and spread your batter out as thin as you normally like your pizza crust. We like it pretty thin because we're going to be adding all the typical meat pizza type things on top of it, like arugula, meat, and dressings. So flatten that out as best as you can. Alrighty, our gorgeous pizza crust is all ready to be baked. So it's going into a 375 degree oven. I would check on it after 25 to 30 minutes, see if it's nice and crispy to your liking, and we'll check back with you after they are ready. The pizza crust is now out of the oven. All I'm doing is just blotting it dry. Now that the pizza crust is ready, I'm placing it onto a board just like I would with a regular meat pizza. Use your favorite Kosher for Passover barbecue sauce and drizzle a little bit of that onto your pizza crust. And separately, I am heating through the leftover meat that we have from our Seder. This is obviously not being filmed on Passover. This is before Passover, but I'm just giving you an idea of how I would repurpose the meat and leftovers for either for lunch the next day after the Seder, so that you don't have to let things go to waste. This is a very nice presentation, and it's really a crowd pleaser. I add a little bit of arugula over the top. I will be adding in more after I add in the meat. So now that we have a nice base, let's add the meat. So I'm going to just be filling up half of the pizza because I don't have that much meat. So you could definitely cut this recipe in half and use it for 2 different Seder nights, or for 2 different types of appetizers. Maybe you want to do a fish appetizer or chicken one and a meat one. So this is going to be beautiful. Add a little bit more of arugula on top. There are a few components that I want to make to top the pizza with. So this is my pickled onions. All I'm going to add is in some salt, some pepper. Normally it's better to have this already prepared so it could be nice and like marinated already, but I just wanted to show you how it would look like if you wanted to recreate this. And then add in a nice amount of vinegar. So I would do this a day before or a few hours before. Mix it really, really well, like really massage the onions, break them down so they could be a little bit soft and they're going to be nice and briny. So all you do is just top it all throughout the pizza. See, it just makes for a really, really gorgeous show-stopping presentation, and it's for Pesach. How amazing. Now the last component is going to be the dressing, the white dressing, and just stay tuned to later on in the video where I'll be sharing with you my dips and salads, and you'll see the dressing recipe over there. Very simply then, just drizzle this white sauce over the top, and you will be wowing all of your guests with these simple leftover repurposed recipes. So it's all ready. It's gorgeous. It's stunning. I hope you guys make this. So I just wanted to say a quick note. If you don't have any leftover chicken or meat that you want to repurpose, you can do the same thing with deli. Just cut up some deli, put it into a saucepan or a skillet, put in some of your favorite Kosher for Passover barbecue sauce, saute that really well, and do the exact same thing that I just did. And I hope you will love it. I'm actually so excited to recreate this on the actual Passover or Seder or whatever. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time eating this? Yeah. Now for a fish appetizer, you could use the same exact pizza crust. I lined it with a little bit of barbecue sauce again, some tuna, some arugula, my pickled onions that are here. Put the pickled onions over the top as well on both of these, and it's just something different. You know, we're sick with the same stuff over and over again. And after that, we put in our white dressing. And this is hopefully another show-stopping little appetizer for your family and friends, or something cute to bring if you're going to your in-laws or your parents. So here you go. Now moving on to our salads. Here I'm making olive salad. I have some green olives, black olives, 1 chili pepper, and 2 cloves of garlic. I'm going to be closing up the lid to the food processor and processing that by pulsing it. Then I add in about a 1/4 cup of oil and pulse that some more. And then I just taste it, make sure that it's to my liking. If it's missing salt or oil, I just add that in as well. So that salad is all done. Now moving on to the dill dip, or the white dressing that you see me make all the time. I have about 1.5 cups of mayo here, a good amount of dill, 4 cloves of garlic, an entire lemon squeezed inside of there, some salt and black pepper, and I'm just going to be pulsing the entire thing until it all comes together. And it's so like multi-purposeful, this dill dip or white dressing. You can put it into salads, you can dip vegetables into it, you can dress it on meat pizzas. The next one here is a tomato dip. I have 1 green chili, 2 tomatoes, 4 cloves of garlic, salt and black pepper are in there as well. If you like it to be more spicier, you can add in some chili pepper, but I pulse all of that together until it all gets mushed up and when it's all done, you taste it, see what's missing, and add in. I added in some paprika in here just because it looked a little bit too white, and that was it. This is chimichurri sauce. It is such a favorite of ours. I have some oil here on the bottom with 4 cloves of garlic minced. I have some sugar that I'm going to be adding in, about 1 teaspoon. I also add in some salt and black pepper as well. I mix all of that, and I incorporate tons of herbs in here. So I have some scallions, some parsley, and some dill. I give that a very good mix, and it looks like it's a little bit too thick over here, so I'm going to be thinning it out by adding in a little bit of oil, and sometimes I add in a little bit more lemon juice. So you taste it. It's supposed to be like this beautiful play of sweet and sour and savory and salty, and it goes really well with poultry and meats. Now that we've finished with our meals and our appetizers and salads, we of course have to finish the night off by sharing some delectable desserts. This is a recipe that I found off of Facebook. I think the woman who shared it was Rebecca Durham, so all the credit goes to her. Very, very simple ingredients, very quick to come together. And you're going to start off by mashing 3 bananas. And now that all of our bananas are mushed, we just simply add in all of our other ingredients. So we have 1 egg here, a 1/4 cup of oil. I'm using avocado oil. You can use margarine or butter if you so choose. A teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm going to mix up the wet ingredients. Then I'm going to add in 1/2 cup of our sugar. And over here I have 1 1/2 cups of almond flour, a pinch of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And that is it. We just mix it all. And if you guys like your banana bread with some chocolate chips, then at the very end you could add in about 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. So that's it, our batter is ready. I'm going to be pouring it into these tin pans. I do not know the size, but they are like the size of my hand. I'm going to spray them down with some oil spray and pop these in. You know what, maybe it'll only fit into 1. You know what, I think it's only good for 1. So you could basically double this recipe for the 2 of them. This is now going to go into a 350-degree preheated oven for 15 minutes to 1 hour. While the banana bread is in the oven, let's get started on chocolate chip cookies. This is from an Instagrammer, Erin Eats. It looked so good and chewy, exactly what I wanted. So in this bowl, I have oil, sugar, eggs, egg yolk, and brown sugar with a little bit of vanilla extract. The exact recipe will be in the description box for you, so don't worry about it. I'll have the recipe and the instructions in there. I'm going to whisk all of the wet ingredients now together. It looked so quick to, you know, it's not like patchki. It doesn't like take a million ingredients. Now that everything is creamed, we're going to be adding in potato starch, tapioca flour, baking powder, and vanilla pudding. I guess this is what gives it that nice chewy texture. All the dry ingredients are in now. I'm going to give that a very good mix and incorporate everything. And over here I have about 1/2 cup of chopped chocolate chips that we're going to be adding in. I formed them into balls, placed them on a cookie sheet, and I did refrigerate them for about 20 minutes. She says to refrigerator for an hour, but I don't have the time for that. So I'm going to be placing it into the oven at 350 degrees for 13 to 15 minutes. The cookies are out. And they're the thin, chewy kind. The best. Delicious. Definitely going to be making this again on Passover. Oh my. These desserts are going to be your favorite. These are both new recipes that I tried. These cookies are chewy, heavenly, and delicious. They cooked for 13 minutes and they were perfect. I removed them from the baking tray right away and left them on my counter. Just perfection. Absolutely delicious. This banana bread, I had to leave it in there for an hour and 15 minutes and it is super moist. It's still warm, so I can't cut into it. But guys, it smells heavenly and you're going to love it. Wanted to show you how soft and gooey this cookie is. I mean, that's just amazing. For a Pesach cookie, amazing. I already had 2, so I'm gonna hold out on that one for a little bit. I hope you guys all enjoyed the recipes. I put a lot of work into it. I wish I could have, made more videos and more recipes. It's just a little bit difficult with, Passover approaching and cleaning and getting everything ready. But hopefully this gave you a little bit of a sense of what I plan to make and how I'm going to be managing my time and the kind of ingredients that I buy. So I hope this was helpful for you. I wanted to wish all of you a very happy and healthy Passover from my family to yours.